Pennsylvania, weighing in at 210 pounds, Drew Gulak! His opponent from Boston, Massachusetts, weighing in at 195 pounds, Biff Busick!
I just need 2 seconds.
Beyond, I am Denver, Colorado, the man not the place, being joined by MLJ. This is the greatest Rivals Round Robin.
I'll tell you what, Denver, I couldn't be more excited for this whole concept, this whole show, but this match, Biff Busick and Drew Gulak one-on-one for maybe the last time.
This is the match that started it all. In Beyond Wrestling back in July of 2012 in Bridgewater, Massachusetts at our Swamp Sessions live event. And here we stand. I mean, more than 3 years later, I don't know, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to have a very hard time keeping my composure tonight.
You and me both, my friend. I mean, we saw Biff Busick say to Drew Gulak on that handshake, one more time.
I mean, I sat same spot right next to Chris Dickinson about a year and a half ago when Biff Busick wrestled Drew Gulak for the CCW World Title at a Combat Zone wrestling event right here, at Fet Music. It was just as incredible then as I anticipate it will be now, and
I mean, you can see the intensity through the opening collar and elbow tie-up.
You want to talk about great rivals. When you look at a competitor like Drew Gulak, the way that he came up in wrestling, the way that he was linked to the campaign in CCW with all those other people, in his organization, and it was really, in my opinion, when he was on his own in Beyond Wrestling that he was able to break out, and he reinvented himself, much more closer to the Drew Gulak that we see today than, basically running a comedy faction. I don't know how else to put it, I mean, Drew Gulak is a ring general, and, that's something that Biff Busick, as well as he knows him, needs to be very careful about, because just like that, Biff was in danger of being pinned.
Yeah, Drew Gulak able to pinpoint the smallest inadequacy in his opponent's game and manipulate that against his opponent.
I can tell you the moment it all turned around for Drew Gulak. It was the tournament for tomorrow, the initial one, the tapings at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. That was before Biff Busick had debuted for Beyond Wrestling. It was a match that he had with Mark Angel. And, I mean, since that time, you see that confidence. And when you have that confidence, you can do things, that nobody else anticipated that you were capable of doing. I mean, these two have traveled the world wrestling. And it's because of, just the unbelievably competitive matches that they put on against one another. They are so evenly matched in almost every department.
Not only against each other, but also together. They formed a very formidable tag team. They know what each other can do, both offensively and defensively.
Excellent point. Winners of the tournament for tomorrow, 316 last year. Victorious over Shinron Inkitsune in the finals.
Ooh, hard shoulder tackle. He goes right back to that side headlock.
Well, I guess let's start talking about where there are slight advantages. Biff has a little bit more size. Gulak has a little bit more experience. Gulak also has age on his side, and perhaps most importantly, these two both have an advantage over Eddie Edwards and Timothy Thatcher by competing first here tonight.
All right, Busick, what do you say? Talk to me.
Now, of course, any ties that we have will be settled at the end of the night if necessary.
What do you say?
I mean, we could be seeing a 4-way, a 3-way, or a straight-up singles match. So,
Give up.
obviously, the result of this contest, a huge factor to how the rest of the card shakes out tonight.
And to touch on the advantages, disadvantages, I think Drew Gulak a bit more technically proficient on the mat, whereas Biff Busick a bit more explosive with his offense. As you see, he burst out of that head scissors.
That explosiveness can help him on the mat, too. He does not know nearly as many holds or as many counters as Gulak. I'll give you that. It's going to be interesting to see how these two try and pace themselves, especially knowing that each of them have to compete twice more here tonight. If especially as you said, the camaraderie between the two. But you got to kind of think at some point it's going to break down.
Oh, sure.
It always breaks down. Ultimately, what this rivalry is about, it's built on respect. It's about who is the better man. And tonight we're going to find out for once and for all.
Look at that, Biff Busick still maneuvering around with that side headlock. Now Gulak trying to find an answer, trying to find a way out.
Now Busick likes to utilize a variation of the side headlock to finish off his opponent. So you got to think that he's trying to weaken up Drew Gulak right here, right now. If that opportunity presents itself, but we see a very similar takedown from Drew Gulak holding onto his opponent's head and wrestling him down to the mat.
And that was really nicely done out of Drew Gulak. Typically trying to get out of his side headlock, they try to shoot their opponent into the opposite side of the ropes. This time he pulled him back right into that side headlock. Really nicely done out of Drew.
This is where the size is coming into play, though. Biff is trying to find an escape. Again, I'm not sure that he's going to have a counter. He just wants to get out of this hold right now. So what that headlock does, you might not be able to get a victory unless it's applied in a specific way, which Biff can do. But ultimately, what it does is it saps your energy, it wears you down, it throws you off your strategy. And on a night like tonight where conditioning is going to be key, you can't afford that.
Drew Gulak now riding all of his weight on Biff Busick. Busick, though, able to swivel his hips, get up to his feet.
Well, in most instances, when you control the head, you control the body. But right here, Busick has got Gulak over the ropes. He could not find an escape. He could not find a counter. He simply had to use his body size to overwhelm his opponent.
Sometimes that's the best counter.
Could you imagine being a rookie official and being thrown into a match like this? A platform such as Beyond Wrestling with these stakes on the line. I mean, there's got to be an intimidation factor. It's going to be up to this kid to call it right down the middle, though.
Ooh, nice European lifter out of Biff Busick. And you know what? That is a good point, Denver. I mean, these two guys, they have to get used to this new official's count, cadence, the way he gets in there.
Oh, Biff looking for his calling card right away. The half-and-half suplex, a move that Drew Gulak has well scouted. Got the counter from Biff Busick. Staying right on top of Gulak. And Gulak using leverage to gain the advantage. And now trying to trap that left leg as he pulls away. Oh my God, Bennett's on right behind his back. Oh, you might have to tap out. And that's going to be another thing. If this was just one match, if this was just one match for tonight, you might toughen out. But knowing, well, maybe you have to throw the first one in order to be victorious in the double, in the remaining two matches that you have later on this night, the extent to which your opponent is working down your body, that's up to these athletes. I've never known Biff Busick as one to quit. He wrestles every match like it's his last.
Certainly. Oh, look at this. Look at this hold Gulak is employing.
Just the way that he had his leg wrapped around Biff's left leg and the way he was elevating the right one. I mean, there's not too many wrestlers that have that type of technique. No separation, holding on to that leg again as he drops the elbow. The lower lumbar, I mean, right there you can, send shockwaves down your opponent's lower extremities, and considering that he's working on the powerful legs of Biff Busick, I mean, that's an expert maneuver out of Drew Gulak.
I spoke earlier about the explosiveness of Biff Busick. A lot of that comes out of his legs. If he doesn't have that vertical base to stand on, he loses a lot of his explosive nature. Really well done out of Drew Gulak, and he's going to try to pull him up here right by the chin.
But unfortunately got a little bit too cocky, lost the hold, and Busick is not at one.
Touching on what you brought up earlier on, how they have two more matches, it's a similar psychology to a 2 out of 3 falls match. You might want to give up that early fall to keep yourself fresh for the remainder of the match. This time it's spread out through the whole night.
Oh no, going back to that leg.
Gulak going back to the leg, as you said, Denver. And he's just working that left leg over.
Again, not only how that's going to be a factor in this match, but then for the rest of the evening, depending on how much damage Gulak can do. I've never seen this hold before. I don't know what to call it.
It's like a sideways figure four.
I mean, you can definitely see the left leg hyperextended, but the right leg too, the way that knee is bent, not front and back, but side to side, that's going to weaken up a lot of those delicate tendons and ligaments in the leg. And this time, Busick using his strength to get over to the ropes. You know, we've got a bigger ring in here tonight too. So that, especially for these submission guys, that puts them at a disadvantage because their opponents are even farther away from the ropes. Or I should say it puts them at an advantage. Anybody looking to an escape in a submission is at a disadvantage. They've got an extra 2 feet they got to crawl.
Ducks down. Waist lock reversal, going for that half and half again. Gulak able to reverse it.
Look at that, man. He is so technically proficient. Back and forth, jockeying for position.
Oh, what's this?
Gulak was looking for a roll-up. Biff bringing it back up to his feet. Right in position for the half and half.
Biff keep going for that move.
Oh, man. Right at the top of the chest. That'll knock the wind out of you. And Gulak perhaps looking for some separation on the outside.
That's going to take all the wind out of your sails, a clothesline like that.
Gulak's going to be careful. He's on his knees on the apron. Biff Busick's already back up to his feet, stalking him on the outside. And there we see the intimidation factor from the official. The official's going to let it go. I mean, you'd hate to see a disqualification in a match like this.
Not only that, but you saw Biff Busick. He stumbled on his way over to Gulak. It's that leg that's still affecting him.
Boot for boot, precariously positioned. And now looking for a half and half. That will spell not only the end of this match, but God forbid the end of Drew Gulak's career. That is not a maneuver you want to find yourself prone to.
Series of back elbows out of Gulak.
And again, you know, but that's a bit of a disrespectful sign. The opportunity opened itself, and Biff took it. And there you see the neck breaker. Sending shockwaves up and down the spine. The official checking on both of these competitors. And now he's going to apply the count. I mean, Gulak definitely got the worst of that. That couldn't have been a good landing for Biff. Certainly one to sacrifice his own body when the time calls for it, but is this the time? The greatest rivals round robin, is this the time?
Certainly early to be laying it out on the line. This is only the first match. You got to think that these two...
Oh, but maybe Gulak was playing possum. Busick walked right into that. And a maneuver like this, where you're pulling the top of your opponent's head, applies so much pressure to the neck. You see the official right in a perfect position to see if Biff Busick is going to quit. Going to be very hard for Biff to escape this hold, and it looks like he's fading.
Biff, what do you say? Come on, you give up. You give up, Biff.
Look at the strength of Biff Busick, though. What a counter! Right into the pin!
Ooh, that was close. That was real close.
Both these guys really trying to pace themselves. They got a long road ahead of them. Gulak strikes first. Biff unable to respond. Trying to shrug his opponent off. And it looks as though Busick is just getting more fired up.
Oh! The strikes there. Using that for his advantage.
There we go. Solid strike out of Busick. Now back in Gulak to the corner. Be careful, Biff. Once you get in the ring with Eddie Edwards, you don't want to be trading those chops.
Hard into the buckles goes Busick. Gulak catches the back elbow. Likes to go for that blockbuster. Gulak ducks out of the way. Drop kick right to the face.
Oh, and a second time. Biff trying to hold himself up in the ropes. Oh, no! Lit into the back of his head. And not only that, but the effectiveness. He's been working on his legs the whole match, but, you know, those steel cables that hold this ring together, they are nothing to joke with. You think they're like an elastic band. It's more like an elevator cable. It's more like an elevator cable. That was very mean-spirited. So now Biff, he's got to think his brain's rattled. He's on spaghetti legs. And Gulak, perhaps suffering from tunnel vision. He's got something very specific in mind. Coming off the top rope, you got to think looking for his calling card, the diving clothesline. Does Biff have enough time to recover? Oh no!
Change
Turned
it up
right
to that
around into
drop
a
kick.
shotgun drop kick. 1, 2. 2 count only.
You can see Busick still holding that leg as well. When that body slam into the ring ropes, that had to take a lot out of that leg.
Biff really still favoring that left knee. It's almost like he's trying to get feeling back into that leg. I mean,
Gulak
I think
sees
everybody knows the feeling of what it's like if your foot falls asleep. Imagine that happening to your entire leg. And then, as you're starting to get the feeling back, that feeling of pins and needles, how can you concentrate on anything else?
Yeah, and right as soon as you try to get it back into your leg, Drew Gulak slaps on an ankle lock. That's not going to do you any favors.
He might not be able to walk. And again, this goes back to what I'm saying. Is Biff going to tough it out? Is Gulak really going to press the issue? Right here, I mean, what a sin that would be if Biff was not able to continue the other 2 matches here tonight and had to forfeit because Drew Gulak, one of his closest friends in wrestling, broke his ankle. I don't think Gulak will cross that line. I don't think Gulak will cross that line. I think that these two have too much respect for one another.
Busick just dived towards those ropes there. It was out of his reach, but he just made every effort he could to reach out and grab him.
You know, I'm not a wrestler, but at some point you got to put the pain out of your mind. Focus on the task at hand. You got to win this match. You got to win this match. And right now it's not looking good for Biff Busick. Now Gulak trying to flip him. No, instead. Busick able to use that momentum to turn over his opponent. Still favoring that leg. Gulak goes right back to it. Biff with another counter, sending Gulak flying.
This way in the opposite direction. Gulak trying for it again. Busick slides through. He's got a schoolboy.
And he had him stacked up good, too. That was a textbook schoolboy.
You got to think maybe if his leg was at full strength and he was able to drive with his legs, he would have been able to pick up the 3 count. Oh, look at this.
The energy has just changed in this room. And I think respect has just gone out the window. You can barely hear the sound of these slaps over the roar of the crowd.
Oh, Gulak firing back.
Busick took 1 millisecond to let that moment sink in. He's paying for it. Oh, Gulak caught him.
He caught him.
1, 2. Oh, man, close call. And now it's Busick going after the leg of Gulak. That's a move that he learned from Lance Storm at the Storm Wrestling Academy. But
he
in
almost
order
had
to
it.
apply
He
it,
almost
though,
had
you
it.
gotta have your legs underneath you, and Biff does not have the strength he needs.
Look at Gulak. How he's able to get away from it and kick up at the man's face.
In danger of being pinned, though. Ducks the clothesline.
Half and
Caught him
half.
in the half and half.
He finally got it.
That's gonna do it. No.
I'll tell you what, that referee was in perfect position for that, too.
Unbelievable match to open things up. A match that could headline any card in the United States. Gulak back up to his feet.
Oh, and there's that headlock you were
Oh,
talking
and Biff
about.
takes him over right in position. Is Gulak going to be forced to give it up? And he taps out.
Here's your winner, Biff